Good afternoon, Patriots. This is Praying Medic, and this is my QAnon broadcast for Monday, May 4th. Welcome to the broadcast. Those of you who are following along at home, doing your own decodes, you can find Q posts on a number of different websites, including qmap.pub and qanon.pub. If you have an Android device and you would like to get notifications when Q is posting, there are a couple of options. You can go to the Play Store and find either the Q Map or the Q Alerts apps. If you have an iPhone, I hear that the Get Pushed app works for that purpose. You just look for the Q Alerts update. If you are new to Q, or if you have friends and family who need a little red pill about the movement, I did write a book called Calm Before the Storm. It is an introduction to Q, suitable for people who know nothing about Q, nothing about the deep state. You don't have to know anything about politics. I start from the very beginning, break down Q's mission and some of the main themes that Q discusses. That book is available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. My theme for this broadcast is Treason Doesn't Pay Well in the End. And this was actually started a couple days ago. Started this one on the 2nd, so we got a little catching up to do. So the morning of the 2nd, President tweeted out, "The Russia hoax is the biggest political scandal in American history. Treason. Let's see how it ends." And this is a retweet of a Kimberly Strassel article about the framing of General Flynn. And at the end of May last year, President Trump said the Spygate plotters committed treason. Q responded to the president's tweet. We have a meme here of Barack Obama, Andrew McCabe, Clapper, Brennan, and Comey. And the caption on the meme is, "Never has a president left office to collude with others to impede the next sitting president of the United States of America until Obama." That is a relevant point. John Roberts, Fox reporter, tweeted out, "A senior intelligence source tells me there is agreement among most of the 17 intelligence agencies that COVID-19 originated in the Wuhan lab. The source stressed that the release is believed to be a mistake and was not intentional." Q posted a link to that tweet and wrote, "What national global impact immediately occurs regarding the intel assessment if the virus was intentionally released in coordination with," and then we have class 1 through 99 in brackets, so that part of it is classified. So Q is asking what would happen on a national global scale if U.S. intelligence agencies confirmed that the COVID-19 virus was released intentionally, essentially as a bioweapon. Then Q writes, "How do you prevent a war? Matters of national security, think timing, who benefits the most." So Q is basically implying that the intelligence agencies had no choice but to state that they did not believe the virus was released intentionally. Because if they stated otherwise, if they said, "Oh, we believe it wasn't released intentionally," there would be a lot of pressure on President Trump to retaliate against China, possibly starting a war. So that's, I think, what Q is getting at. So then Q writes, "Think timing, who benefits the most? Common denominator. Do you believe Joe Biden would admit to sexual assault simply by asking him? No. So why do you ask?" So when Mika Brzezinski did the interview with Joe Biden and she had to confront him over the sexual assault allegations, we all knew that he was going to deny it, but why do you ask? I think Q is getting at the idea here that the Democrats actually torpedoed Joe Biden and they want him out, and they need a plausible reason to get him out and replace him as a Democrat candidate. So they put him up to that interview knowing that he would have to answer the question and they would have a plausible reason to get rid of him. Next line down. Do you believe the intel community would admit, declass in brackets, foreign adversary intentionally released COVID-19? No. Why do you ask? And ask is in brackets. January 15, D, impeachment articles transferred to the Senate. There's a link to an article about Nancy Pelosi transferring the articles of impeachment to the Senate on January 15th. January 15, first COVID U.S. case. And there's a link to a CNBC article. It's an interview with a doctor who treated the first U.S. coronavirus patient, who says that it had been circulating unchecked for weeks, but that person came into the States on January 15th. And all those little things, coincidences, right? Also, China signed the trade agreement with the U.S. on January 15th. Are all those things a coincidence, do you think? Just happened at the same day? I don't know. Then we have this. General McChrystal, he was a commander in forces in Afghanistan. He is planning to deploy artificial intelligence technology that was designed to counter Islamic State propaganda, but he's going to be using it to counter President Trump's online message. And Q posted a link to that article and wrote in brackets, op, combat, op. They fear you, in brackets, massive global reach. You attack those you fear the most, forgotten country, Q. We're going to come back to this in a little bit. Q posted about it again this morning. This is all from May 2nd. Jackie Lope posted this tweet. It's in German, but it's about QAnon trending on May 2nd in Germany. And here's the translation. QAnon is trending in Germany. Has Twitter censorship failed, or has there been a terrorist attack by someone who has 8kun in their browser history? And that's an allusion to why would Q trend unless some shooter or something did something crazy and had, Q or 8kun in their history. So Q responded to that. You're trending worldwide, 24/7, 365, even with censorship. Never in our history has this been attempted. Where we go one, we go all. Q. And then Q posted this meme, just an image of, looks like a woman standing in a field, arms spread out, and sunshine shining on her. For those of you on the audio version of the podcast. And the file name is peace, power, and spirit.jpg. Q also posted a meme we're familiar with. It is a tweet by Dan Scavino and then a retweet by the president. My next piece is called Nothing Can Stop What Is Coming, and it's a photo of President Trump playing the violin. He's been playing the media like a violin lately. All right. Q then posted this. What would have happened if POTUS challenged the COVID-19 narrative from the beginning? Sometimes you can't tell the public the truth. You must show them. Who benefits the most? Why are D's, Democrats, solely focused on closure, retaining, and vote by mail? They do not care about your well-being. You are simply in the way. This is about regaining power, self-preservation, every asset deployed, win by any means necessary, win or die. If the president had challenged the medical experts on COVID-19, they would have first accused him of being a science denier because he has no medical expertise. So he would be lampooned by the media for being a science denier. And then as people started to die from the coronavirus, he would be blamed for all the deaths. And they're blaming him anyway. But it would be worse if he challenged their medical expertise and their recommendations. So he was in a no-win situation. He really didn't have much of a choice to follow their recommendations. Democrats benefit because they are pushing now this all vote by mail. They don't want people going out of their houses to vote. Nope, they want to do vote by mail, and that's a really easy way to bring in voter fraud. So they don't care about your businesses. They don't care about your jobs. They don't care at all. All they want is to regain power, win or die. A lot of these people are going to end up in prison. They're going to try to get President Trump out of office and try to replace Attorney General Barr. If they can't do that, a lot of them are going to prison. It is win or die. It's a zero-sum game. There's only going to be one winner. And it's not going to be them. Q posted a link to a tweet by Bill Mitchell. I tried to tell them, but they wouldn't listen. Here it is. Center for Disease Control equates coronavirus hospitalizations to the seasonal flu and finally admits it's much less dangerous for children. And there's a link to an article here. The linked article explains that the CDC did admit that COVID-19 hospitalization rates are similar to those in the 65 and older category during recent high severity influenza seasons. So the fatality rate is coming down. I've been expecting for a long time that when the final numbers are in, it's going to have probably 0.1 mortality rate, which is pretty similar to the seasonal flu. We're all going to look back on this in a couple of years and realized we were all duped into believing a fake narrative and allowed our country to be almost destroyed by these people. Q posted a link to Bill Mitchell's tweet and said 2020 presidential election. That's what this is about. It's all about the election. Q linked to a Washington Times article. I was going to pull a little quote here from the article. COVID-19 will go down as one of the political world's biggest, most shamefully overblown, overhyped, and overly irrationally inflated and outright deceptively flawed responses to a health matter in American history. And I could not agree more. I think the response has been absolutely overblown and ridiculous. Really, it just illustrates how easily people can be controlled. They call us sheep, and they call us sheep for a reason, because generally 90% of the population is going to do whatever they're told to do by experts, by people who are perceived to be authorities. All right, and Anon on Twitter posted this: never in 350 years have so many men and women from all walks of life come together to make a final stand against pure evil. Patriots worldwide, stand together. We will prevail. Q posted a link to that tweet. Never has this been attempted. Dark to light. Q. There is it's a tweet from John Cardillo who said, "I'm well aware of the CDC's lag times, but this isn't that, so stop with that excuse for these numbers." They separated out other illnesses that were the actual cause of death, and now the mortality rate is half of what it was last week. It's been nothing but a scam. This is talking about the death rates for coronavirus are just dramatically dropping, way below what the original estimates were. Q wrote, "Knowledge is power." Q posted a link to this Twitter account. "I follow Q because I still believe in goodness, freedom, and peace. I joined Twitter specifically to be a part of the cause and join my brothers and sisters to spread the word. No other reason. My voice may be small, but it still counts. We are the revolution" is the hashtag Q sent me. Q responded, "We are in this together. Patriotism is on the rise." Q. Q posted links to a whole lot of videos that people put on Twitter. One of them was actually deleted by the user before I could grab that tweet and put it in here. But I will let you watch and listen to these videos.
Where we go one, we go all, worldwide.
Worldwide.
Where we go one, we go all. Ohio. From Canada. Where we go one, we go all.
All right, Dre.
From Fort Lauderdale, Florida. When we go one, we go all.
Where we go one, we go all, Maryland.
Coming. Where we go one, we go all, worldwide. Coming in from Nebraska.
Where we go one, we go all.
Where we go one, we go all, Tennessee.
Where we go one, we go all. Reno, Nevada.
Atlanta, Georgia. Where we go one, we go all.
What's up, Patriots? Where we go one, we go all. Washington.
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Where we go one, we go all.
From Phoenix, Arizona. Where we go one, we go all.
The guy in the middle there is my friend Dan Myers, the sword swallower. He's in the Guinness Book of Records. He's been on America's Got Talent. He lives an amazing life. And we were out at the one of the local riparian preserves the other night, and he filmed that. All right, Shanae Anderson has one here for us.
I just got my brand new car, and the first thing I did was put my Q sticker on. Where we go one, we go all.
Where we go one, we go all. Hamburg, Germany.
Where we go one, we go all, Texas.
Toronto, Canada, where we go one, we go all.
From Rio de Janeiro, you are not alone. Where we go one, we go all.
That voice sounds vaguely familiar. You might want to follow that guy on Twitter if you're not following him already. Leo Redfish. All right, Q posted on the 2nd, boom week ahead. Treason doesn't pay well in the end. That is true. This is a report from One American News showing that hydroxychloroquine, when used with zithromycin and zinc, has been proven to be effective in greater than 90% of COVID-19 cases. So the scientific evidence is coming in to support the use of that drug. Deanna for Congress, our friend who ran against Nancy Pelosi, got cued. When the left says believe science, just remember that their climate expert is Greta Thunberg. Q posted a link to that tweet. The world is waking up, Q. And this is Rod Sterling. Imagine, if you will, a world where people believe that the temperature of the planet can be controlled by giving more money to the government. That's pretty much what we're down to right now. Tom Fitton got cued for this tweet where he wrote, "It was never about Russia. Targeting of real Donald Trump served to protect Hillary Clinton, and now Obama, Biden, McCabe, Brennan, Comey, Schiff, etc. and their enablers, co-conspirators in the Obama administration from prosecution." Let you listen to this video with Tom.
We have conducted the most significant non-governmental investigations, frankly, in recent American history, if not. We uncovered the Clinton emails. We uncovered key information about Benghazi, tying the White House to the big lies about Benghazi, leading to the creation of Select Committee. The FBI followed our lead in terms of the criminal investigation or matter of Hillary Clinton. And certainly, Mrs. Clinton wasn't indicted officially, but there was a measure of accountability on Election Day, and certainly if the voters were sitting as a grand jury, you know what their verdict was on Election Day. And we didn't do it because I didn't know Hillary Clinton was going to run for office. But we did it because we had a right to these records under the law, and Mrs. Clinton thought she was above the law. She came into office immediately, and despite warnings from security people in the State Department, she thought she was going to do all of her business in private. And we know what she was trying to cover up. And she knew what the laws were. She knew what FOIA was. She knew what the requirements were for keeping your emails. She knew what the requirements were for classified information. She thought she was going to get away with it. And she thought if anyone had to get her emails, they were going to have to go through her lawyer well after she was President of the United States. Well, it turned out very differently for her, didn't it? And everyone thinks she's out of the woods yet, I think, is naive. And I think the reason she's not out of the woods yet is the vociferous attacks on the president. It shows you that they are very nervous that if things settle down and the law enforcement focus became regular, someone like Hillary Clinton would still be facing significant criminal liability. And so the reaction to the loss, you know, the criminal class in many ways lost on Election Day last year. And the reaction to that is to, again, abuse the powers of government to go after the duly elected President of the United States. So they created what I call the unicorn theory of the election, that the Russians somehow hacked the election and Donald Trump was in collusion with the Russians, ignoring the fact that the only specific information we had about foreign money going into someone's personal coffers was related to Mrs. Clinton, for which she still needs investigation. And because the hardcore left controls the levers of government and the media, they were able to create this scenario where the president would be facing criminal liability and potential impeachment. And if they can't get him, they'll get his family. And believe me, if we thought a president Republican had done anything wrong, we'd be first out of the gate saying, hey, there needs to be an investigation, there needs to be an independent investigation, there should be consideration of impeachment, congressional hearings and such. But it's obvious nothing went on. It's obvious. So we're facing this crisis where they're breaking the rules, illegally leaking. Devin Nunes, one of the few members of the House who is kind of a whistleblower because he figured out by reviewing materials at the White House, intelligence materials, that the Obama gang was unmasking and spying on individual citizens in arguably an unlawful way. And of course, they were leaking classified information and violating the privacy of those citizens. So does anyone think that a president who would allow his IRS to target his political enemies and suppress an entire political movement against him would think twice about using the intelligence apparatus to spy on these same individuals and people? And political opposition both in his party and outside his party? Of course not.
Q posted a link to Tom's tweet and wrote, "Locked on target, painted, planned and immediate." Q. Locked on target, just talk about targeting, weapons targeting, and painting the target. Use a laser to paint the target, and whoever's guiding the weapons systems locks on that laser. So this is just military metaphors for these people are in the crosshairs and they're going down. And Q says planned and immediate, so maybe we'll see indictments sometime soon. Not promising anything. We have this video. It's a well-known video. Q has posted different versions of this. This is a slightly different version of the video. This video will get Donald Trump elected. And Q posted a link to that. It said, listen carefully. Date, speech made. -1 in brackets, election day, Q. And I'm not sure exactly what Q is hinting at with respect to the -1 election day, because that message was actually taken from a Trump rally on October 13th, 2016, several weeks before the 2016 election. There's actually a full transcript available on npr.org at this. The name of the article is Transcript Donald Trump's Speech Responding to Assault Accusations. Moving along, Q posted a screenshot of a tweet by President Trump the fake mainstream media has, from the time I announced that I was running for president, run the most highly sophisticated and dishonest disinformation campaign in the history of politics. No matter how well we do, they find fault. But the forgotten men and women won, and I'm president. And then Q posted a meme, the FISAgate meme, with Barack Obama, James Comey, Loretta Lynch, Hillary Clinton, and McCabe. This is an old post from December 6, 2019, where Q had written on that original post, people actually believe those responsible for the attempted coup of a duly elected sitting U.S. president will go unpunished. End to our constitutional republic. No equal justice under the law. No accountability. Escape unscathed. Enjoy the show. I don't think the president would be tweeting about treason if he wasn't confident that these people are going to see justice. So if you're concerned about that, I would not be concerned. It's coming. Let's see, get to the next Q post. V for Vendetta was queued for posting this video, and I'll let you listen to it.
Patriots worldwide.
From British Columbia, Canada.
Greetings from Nokia, Greenland.
Hola desde Ecuador.
From Colchester, England.
South Africa. Saludos desde España.
Greetings from Denmark, here with the Little Mermaid.
G'day, I'm in Port Macquarie, Australia.
Bonjour, c'est David de Paris.
Sabuda, Nigeria.
De Bogotá, Colombia.
Where we go one.
Where we go one.
Where we go one.
Where we go one.
Where we go one. Where we go one.
We go all.
पूरे क्वींस एम में स्विस
जहाँ कोई एक जाएगा वहाँ सब जाएंगे
Wohin wir auch gehen,
gehen wir gemeinsam.
Donde vamos uno, vamos todos.
Where we go one, we go all, yeah!
Q responded to that video. Never in our history has this been attempted. Patriots worldwide simply needed a spark to reignite the engine. For humanity, where we go one, we go all. Q. A spark sometimes is all it takes. Douglas McKinnon wrote an article in The Hill speculating that the Democrat Party is planning to switch out Joe Biden for another candidate, perhaps Hillary Clinton. This is this article. Q posted a link to it. And reminded Anand that he had predicted this previously. There's a this is a post from, I think, last week, if I'm not mistaken. It's from, yes, April 30th, where Q kind of predicted that they would switch out Joe Biden. And now there's actually a committee that is trying to draft Michelle Obama to be Biden's vice presidential candidate. Q posted a link to a Justice Department document, Deprivation of Rights Under Color of Law. This is a discussion of U.S. Code, 18 U.S. Code, Section 242, which makes it illegal for law enforcement, elected officials, or their representatives to deprive a person of a right or privilege specified in the Constitution or in federal law. So a lot of the things that these local governmental agencies are doing are illegal. And people are finding out that they actually have rights, and their rights are not taken away just because we have a pandemic. So Q posted a link to that document, Digest, Know Your Rights. We do need to know our rights. And this is a tweet that Q posted from Anthony Sabatini. State Attorney's Office, 6th Circuit just dropped their case against my client, Galen Wood, the first Floridian to be arrested for opening a non-essential business. It's clear there is no valid legal authority for either the state or local emergency orders. And he's got a screenshot here of the termination of the case. These local mayors and governors don't have any actual authority to be able to close down businesses. That is strictly the purview of the federal government, and specifically the Department of Commerce. This woman, Deborah Thompson, she's the owner of the Horseshoe Cafe in Wickenburg. She was told that she had to close her restaurant. She reopened her restaurant to dine-in services. Police came and told her she had to shut it down. She's refusing to comply under the threat of being arrested. And if you are in the area, you might want to go check out the Horseshoe Cafe. There's people have been protesting in downtown Wickenburg for a while. And pretty soon you'll be able to go to a rodeo there. If you like rodeos, they put on a good rodeo. All right. The Disruptive Physician. I like this guy. He tweeted out, meanwhile, regular doctors like me are using hydroxychloroquine plus azithromycin and zinc to good effect. One nursing home in Northeast Ohio had 30 cases, started everyone on the hydroxychloroquine, no deaths. Quick recovery. Why would the mainstream media hide this? Why would Twitter block people who question the World Health Organization? That's a good question. Q posted a link to that tweet, Logical Thinking. And then we have this article. It is from mystateline.com. Illinois has released almost 4,000 prisoners since March 1st, including 64 convicted murderers, 146 sex offenders, and 3 people considered to be sexually dangerous people. At the same time, they're incarcerating citizens for violating social distancing rules. So Q posted a link to that article. Why are Democrat governors around the nation releasing convicted felons, dangerous felons, early? Why are Democrat governors around the nation instructing or instructed law enforcement to arrest those who challenge, do not comply with lockdown orders, reconcile? That is a really good question. Why are they allowing criminals to go free and imprisoning law-abiding citizens? It's crazy. Q posted a link to a tweet by Mike Pompeo. This is his private account. Be sure of this, the wicked will not go unpunished, but the descendants of the righteous will go free. Proverbs 11:21. And then we have this. Mayor Lightfoot, mayor of Chicago, threatening people. I'll let you listen to this video.
Now, I've directed Superintendent Brown to order all police districts to give special attention to these parties. And this is how it's going to be. We will shut you down, we will cite you, and if we need to, we will arrest you and we will take you to jail. Period. There should be nothing unambiguous about that. Don't make us treat you like a criminal. But if you act like a criminal and you violate the law and you refuse to do what is necessary to save lives in the city in the middle of a pandemic, we will take you to jail, period.
So Q posted a link to that. It was a Daily Caller article about that. Why are the gatekeepers, in brackets, releasing of criminals, jailing non-compliance, lockdown people, all Democrat? Know your rights. D is in brackets, lockdowns in brackets. Know your rights, people. We need to do a little bit of pushback. I've been pushing back on Doug Ducey on Twitter, tweeting at him, letting him know that we're not going to take this nonsense. Q wrote, sometimes you can't tell the public the truth. You must show them. It's time to wake up, Q. And MIT Technology Review put out this tweet. New workplace monitoring tool issues an alert when anyone is less than 6 feet apart. Amazon is also using a similar software to monitor the distances between their warehouse staff. The pandemic provides a plausible reason for employers to closely monitor their employees. It's actually probably been going on for a while, but social distancing now gives them a reason to acknowledge that it's actually happening. So Q posted a link to that tweet. Ready to stand up? Q. Are we going to stand up and defend our rights, or are we going to be like sheep? Police arrested a tattoo shop owner who opened his business in violation of a lockdown order. And there's video here of the police taking him out in handcuffs. Q posted a link to that tweet. Can you see clearly? Q. I'm starting to see clearly. All right. This was from yesterday. Q posted a meme. It's a meme of President Trump, and it says, in reality, they're not after me, they're after you. I'm just in the way. And then Q wrote, people, an informed, free-thinking public, awake is their greatest fear. United we stand. Q. And an Anon posted screenshots of a couple of tweets by the president. Intelligence has just reported to me that I was correct, and they did not bring up the coronavirus subject matter until late into January, just prior to my banning China from the U.S. Also, they only spoke of the virus in a non-threatening or matter-of-fact manner. And then the second tweet continues. Fake news got it wrong again, as always, and tens of thousands of lives were saved by my early ban of China into the country. The people that were allowed were heavily scrutinized and tested U.S. citizens, and as such, I welcome them with open arms. So Q responded to that. Very non-threatening. Intel assessment. What would have happened if POTUS challenged the COVID-19 narrative from the beginning? We would be wrapping up for war with China. Yesterday afternoon, Q posted this, and it is a meme. Stay with me, deplorables. You'll love how this movie ends. And it's signed Q+. So the president was posting on the board yesterday. I love it. We are going to like how this movie ends. Okay, Q posted a link to an article, and that was this morning. It's an article from Fox News. The artificial intelligence tool that's used by this group of Democrats who are opposing Trump's message online. This is being headed up by General McChrystal. Well, that tool was actually developed by DARPA, the Pentagon's research team. And it actually says in here, Stanley McChrystal is planning to deploy an information warfare tool that received funding from DARPA. So Q posted that link and then wrote, information warfare in quotes. Imagine that, Q. Yes. All right, we have another link that Q posted this morning. Pennsylvania Representative Guy Reschenthaler says Nancy Pelosi is obstructing an investigation into the origins of the COVID-19 virus in China and U.S. funding of the Wuhan Institute of Virology. So they want to investigate the beginnings and where this thing came from. Why is the United States funding this virology lab? Despite the fact that there have been a lot of known problems with safety and compliance, we're still giving this institute money. Rightly so, I think. Republicans want to investigate this, but Nancy Pelosi is doing everything she can to make sure that doesn't get investigated. Wonder why. Was there collusion between the Chinese government and Democrats? And what would happen if the public found out? So Q posted a link to that article. Why would Pelosi, Democrat, D in brackets, block origination, source, rollout in brackets, investigation of COVID-19 in China in brackets. Prevent public exposure of the truth? Ask yourself why. D, People's Republic of China. Q posted a meme, a renegade meme, Barack Obama with the definition of renegade, and writes, why did, in brackets, Hussein Barry, choose renegade as a U.S. Secret Service code name? Define renegade. Hussein Barry, again in brackets. Parents both fluent in Russian. Is Russian a common language to learn? Public career history, mom and dad. Public career history require Russian language as prerequisite? Farm work takes special skills. Q. Secret Service code names are actually chosen by the White House Communications Agency. And the president does have some say in the Secret Service code name that they're used. So the question is, why did Obama choose renegade? Did he choose it because it conveys some certain meaning about his personality type? Perhaps. This is an ABC News article. Confirms that Obama's parents met in Hawaii in a Russian language class at the University of Hawaii. And so the question is, Obama's mother, Ann Dunham, officially worked as an anthropologist for 25 years, which would not require her to learn Russian. His father also wouldn't have needed to learn Russian for his work. So Q is hinting at that, well, you know, maybe they were CIA assets, because if you work on the farm, the CIA training facility is called the farm. Having a knowledge of Russian language would be a benefit. Q posted an excerpt from a memorandum by the Attorney General. Many policies that would be unthinkable in regular times have become commonplace in recent weeks, and we do not want to unduly interfere in the important efforts of state and local officials to protect the public. But the Constitution is not suspended in times of crisis. We must therefore be vigilant to ensure its protections are preserved. At the same time, the public is protected. I thank you for your attention to this important initiative and for your service to our community. So Q then posted a meme. It's a quote from Thomas Jefferson. When the people fear the government, there is tyranny. When the government fears the people, there is liberty. Q wrote this: why is there an active, coordinated in brackets disinformation campaign being deployed using misleading headlines, no original source attached, tactics, and pushed in an attempt to amplify? Direct original source attacks or push predetermined and orchestrated false claim statements of others, think decodes in brackets. Constant mainstream media attacks. Why? When does the enemy expend ammunition? For what purpose? Question what you read from every source in brackets. Use discernment. Q. All right, going to write this down. I first saw this post and I was a little confused as to what the meaning and the context was. But Q clarified it with another post, which we'll look at in a second. So the media like to attack Q without mentioning the content of any of his messages. I've read a lot of articles about Q from the mainstream media, and they never actually go into the content of Q's messages. They always take a few outliers, a few bizarre acting people who are somehow connected to the Q movement, and then portray them as representative of the entire movement. In this article, this mother was charged with kidnapping, and apparently, supposedly, we can't even verify this, she was following Q. And if you think about this, just from sheer numbers, if there are 1 to 200 million people around the world following Q, what are the odds that about half a dozen of those people are going to have criminal behavior? There's a very good likelihood that some of them are going to have criminal activities and they'll happen to follow Q. They don't mention their religious beliefs, what church they go to, what schools they go to, where they work at, because that's not their interest. The mainstream media only wants to know when someone's arrested, hey, are they connected to that Q thing? Because if they are, we can write an article about it. Moving along, some of the people who follow Q are, whether it's intentional or unintentionally, amplifying the wrong message. They emphasize things Q has never discussed, like JFK Jr. faking his own death. And that leads to reactions like this. Here's a tweet from a guy, Jeff Tiedrich. Am I understanding this correctly? Sheltering at home is a hoax, but, checks notes, JFK Jr. faking his own death in order to help Trump round up a gang of international sex traffickers is real. And there's another tweet below that one. This guy, Black Mirror Image, tweeted, and let's talk about some of the stuff Q did say, like that Tom Hanks was secretly jailed for raping children, and that they know this because he posts symbolic photos of lost or discarded gloves, socks, and shoes on Instagram. This account, PGenium, responded to those tweets. Great point, Sparky, except QAnon has said none of these things. Fake news strikes again. Many others have been digging into the rumors around Hanks, possibly because of the explosion of pervs outed during the whole Epstein thing. But QAnon, nope. Yeah, Q has never mentioned Tom Hanks. Q has never suggested that JFK Jr. faked his own death. A lot of people are pushing those stories, but that is not what Q is talking about. So Q posted a link to this tweet above and said, good example, see previous post, Q. Q has not mentioned a lot of subjects. Adrenochrome is one of them. Go look through Q's post. You won't find one mentioned. But there's a lot of people on social media who are following Q who love to talk about those subjects. I personally do not talk about subjects Q does not talk about on my Q broadcasts. I try to stick to what Q has been talking about because I don't want to cast Q in a bad light. Q wrote, question what you read, from every source, use discernment. Don't blindly accept anyone's commentary. Apply critical thinking and exercise discernment. Q then posted this. There's a link to a Bing search for QAnon over the last 30 days. And Q wrote sample past 30 days in brackets. Do you understand, Q? The headlines tend to portray Q followers as mentally unstable. Do we really want to help drive that narrative? Well, I don't. So I try to be really careful about how I represent Q. I don't want to represent Q poorly. I don't want to be the subject of one of these articles. And this is the last post from Q today. DARPA, Facebook, Twitter, and Google. Dems coordinate and develop of AI tool in attempt to counter your reach. Now public, see previous drop, demonstrates your collective influence. Think mainstream media daily attacks, losing ground in brackets. You are winning the information warfare campaign. Support will always be provided, undisclosed methods, in brackets, Q. So even though Democrats are colluding and coordinating with social media platforms to silence us, we're winning the war. And the good guys are apparently helping us through undisclosed methods. That gets us caught up to Q for today. Thank you for following. Thank you for sharing this on social media. If you would like this broadcast, you might want to subscribe. Also, you can support me on Patreon. Please keep me and Denise in prayer. Keep the president in prayer. Keep Q and the team in prayer. Love you all. Take care. I will catch you on the next broadcast.